Yesterday, Canada made World Cup history, and almost nobody's talking about the goal that did it. Because right before half-time, Canada should have had a penalty. They didn't get it, and by the end of this video, you'll see that's not even close to the worst call of this tournament. It's not even top 3. There's a pattern running through every one of these decisions. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it for the rest of this World Cup. Let's get into what actually happened. Canada versus South Africa, round of 32, Los Angeles. Right on the stroke of half-time, Richie Laryea gets in behind, takes a touch into the box, and goes down. South Africa's Kuliso Mudau is right there. Contact, definitely. Penalty? The referee says no. Goal kick. VAR looks at it. VAR agrees with the referee. No review, no second look, nothing. Canada's manager, Jesse Marsch, lost it. He had to be physically walked away from the officials by his own players at half-time. One of the broadcast's own referee analysts looked at that exact same replay and said, in her words, she thought it was a foul. Canada won anyway. Steven Eustáquio scored in the 92nd minute and sent them through to their first ever World Cup knockout round. Happy ending. But here's what I actually want you to track for the next 9 minutes. That wasn't even the worst refereeing decision of the week. And by the end, I'll show you the one rule buried in this tournament that explains why all of this keeps happening, and it's not what you think. If you're new here, I cover World Cup storylines like this all tournament, the stuff that's actually worth talking about beyond just the scoreline. Subscribe if you want the next one the moment it drops. Let's start with the biggest name involved in any of this, Kylian Mbappé. France versus Senegal. Mbappé's running at pace. Senegal's Sadio Mane comes across with a late challenge. Never touches the ball, clips Mbappé's leg. Down he goes. No penalty on the field. Fine, that happens. Referees miss things in real time. That's the entire reason VAR exists. So VAR does its job. It sends referee Alireza Fagani over to the pitch side monitor to look again. He watches the replay and sticks with no penalty. His reasoning, relayed afterward, Mbappé initiated the contact himself. Watch it back and that doesn't hold up. Mane's the one closing the distance. Mane's the one who never plays the ball. ESPN's own referee analyst, a former Premier League official, called the decision baffling and said publicly it could cost that referee any more games this tournament. The pitch-side monitor exists specifically to catch mistakes like this one. It still got it wrong. And that one at least stayed inside a single match. The next one made an entire football federation go over the referee's head. Brazil versus Scotland. Vinícius Júnior gets the ball, beats his man, slots it into the corner. Goal, until VAR pulls it back. The reasoning? A foul in the build-up. Vinícius supposedly stepping into the defender's path before scoring. Watch it back, and the contact is soft enough that most fans needed a second look to even see it. Brazil won the game anyway, 3-0. But their own football federation, the actual governing body of Brazilian football, wrote directly to FIFA on the record, asking for consistent standards on when VAR is allowed to intervene. That's not fans complaining online. That's a national federation telling FIFA, in writing, that their officiating standard isn't holding up. Here's the part most people miss, and it's bigger than any one bad call. Because so far, every example has been a human getting it wrong. There's still a version of this where the tech itself fails, and one where it's not even about getting the decision wrong at all. Stay with me. Ghana versus England. Late in the game, Ghana's striker is through on goal. England's Ezri Konsa comes across and brings him down inside the box. No penalty, no VAR review. Ghana's manager, Carlos Queiroz, a guy who's managed Real Madrid and Portugal, not exactly a stranger to big tournaments, had one line for the press afterward. VAR went for a coffee. It's the line everyone remembers from that match. Strip the joke away though, and it's the same problem every time. A clear physical incident, no intervention, no explanation good enough to satisfy anyone watching. Now here's where it stops being just human error, because even the robots got one wrong.
Switzerland versus Qatar.
The very first round of the tournament. Switzerland get a penalty. Breel Embolo scores it to make it 1-0 in the 14th minute. The question was offside. And this World Cup's whole pitch is that the new semi-automated offside system removes the guesswork. Except in this exact moment, the system's graphic generator went down. FIFA had to draw the offside lines by hand, live, with no visual proof shown to the broadcast or the fans. FIFA didn't release the actual offside graphic until roughly 4.5 hours after the penalty was awarded. FIFA's own statement admitted there was a technical outage. They say the decision-making itself wasn't affected. Fans had no way to verify that in the moment because the one piece of evidence that exists to settle the argument simply wasn't there. So if it's not just bad refs, and it's not just bad tech either, what's actually going on? There's one rule that ties all of this together. This World Cup introduced a brand new law. Cover your mouth while confronting an opponent on the pitch, and that's a straight red card. People have started calling it the Prestiani rule, named after a Benfica player who got a 6-game ban for hiding a homophobic slur behind his hand during a Champions League match earlier this year. Paraguay's Miguel Almiron became the first player ever sent off under it at this World Cup. Mid-confrontation, hand over his mouth, red card, straight down the tunnel, suspended for the next game. Days later, England's Jude Bellingham did the exact same physical thing. Hand over his mouth, talking to Ghana's Jordan Ayew. Nothing happened. No card. He played the rest of the match. Same gesture, same World Cup. 1 red card, 1-0. The rule was never really about the hand. It's about what the referee decides you meant by it. So here's the actual takeaway. It's not that this World Cup's referees are having a bad tournament. It's that some of the biggest decisions in the biggest tournament on the planet are built on a guess about what somebody meant, not what they did. If that changes how you watch the rest of the knockouts, tell me in the comments which call you think was the worst one.